for
Canada dried up in the playoffs against LeBron again. So it's I think what is the third straight year the Cavs has knocked them out.
Yeah, I mean, matter of fact, like let me just really get into my be a GM real quick segment. So for me, I'm just gonna quickly, if I was the GM of the Toronto Raptors, how would I approach this offseason? So I kind of, you could even ask a couple of questions after I'm done with this to kind of see where I'm at with this GM play. So the first thing I think with Toronto, and if we look at Toronto, why they lost this year, a lot of people will say Toronto had a great season. They got home court. They should have never lost 4-zip to LeBron. That's correct. That's correct. They should have never been swept there. But also, they weren't close to Cleveland. They were not. Playoff Cleveland. So when LeBron takes his game to the next level, Kevin Love takes his game to the next level, these are champions. You got Tristan Thompson that can take his game to. These are champions that can take their game to a championship caliber level. J.R. Smith. Veterans. Whereas on the other side, Kyle Lowry, DeRozan, Valanciunas, Ibaka, none of them have won a championship before. Their head coach has never won a championship before. That whole organization has never seen a championship ever. So there is no next level for them to go to. So what you're seeing is them at peak regular season play. And against LeBron at playoff level, against Kevin Love at playoff level, you have no chance against them. And that's what you saw. You saw completely they were outmatched. Now, for that reason, it's like you need somebody that can get them to that level. And that's usually a coach. You go out and you get a coach that, like a D'Antoni. That's what Houston did. Like you had, who was the coach you had before that? Kevin McHale.
Yes.
So Kevin McHale is a good coach, but then if you really want to take the next step, you got to go out and get a coach that's on the next level that can get you to the championship level. So D'Antoni is way above Kevin McHale. He's a championship level coach. So Toronto, you'd have to ask yourself, were they a championship level team though? And as I look at that roster, I don't see that. I see a good team. I see a competitive team. I see a division champion possible team. But I don't see a championship contending team. So in the West, that would be comparable to like the New Orleans Pelicans. I think the Pelicans, to me, is where I would see the Raptors. The difference is, if you put the Pelicans in the East, they might win 55 games. That's just how tough the West is. But on the East, you just look at the number, you say, oh, Toronto won 59 games. They must be that good.
No, I don't even think the Pelicans get swept by Cleveland.
No, they won't. They absolutely won't. So it's like, that's the comparison I'm trying to just give here. So the first move that I would make would actually be fire Dwayne Casey. So I'm like, I respect the hell out of their GM too. I actually got him as my executive of the year. I don't know how to say his name particularly right. Mouze Ujiri, the president of the Raptors.
Must you worry? Gotcha.
Now, I respect the hell out of him. I think he's a great executive. He was with the Denver Nuggets when he made the Carmelo trade to the Knicks. He knows what he's doing. But first move, I would say is fire Dwayne Casey. The fact that he did that today, he's continuing to do everything that I think a real GM should do. So after firing, Coach Dwayne Casey, next move that I would make is actually bring in the G League Raptors coach, Jerry Stackhouse, who's won a championship and has been to back-to-back G League finals with that Raptors team. So he's already in the Raptors system. Like Van Fleet played with him. Delon Wright came up with him in the D League. Some of those players that you see on that bench played with Stackhouse and came up under him before they get him to the big team. So I think he's the perfect coach, almost like with the major leagues. When you have a minor league coach at the AAA that bring up a lot of your young stars, and then he becomes a head coach because he was with them when they were coming up, that's a good pickup. So a lot of these young players that will be there, like the Delon Wright, like I say, the Van Fleet, OG Anunoby, Siakam, these are the players that I feel like Jerry Stackhouse already has a relationship with that would be good for him to continue with them. So I would bring in Jerry Stackhouse as a coach first. Then I would break up what they have. I think it's time to reconstruct, not rebuild, reconstruct. So the first move I would make is trade DeMar DeRozan. And this trade to me is a supreme trade for everybody involved. The trades that I make is for both teams, not just for the team that I'm with. So the trade that I had put together, I'm trading DeMar DeRozan to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Okay? I'm trading him and Joakim Poeltl for Andrew Wiggins and Justin Patton. So it's basically DeRozan for Andrew Wiggins. Why? Andrew Wiggins is more of an offensive star. Tom Thibodeau does not particularly like Andrew Wiggins because he's a defensive coach. So his guy is Jimmy Butler. His guy is Towns. These are players that are defensive players first. Wiggins has not reached his potential with Thibodeau. That is clear to the whole world. Mm-hmm. This is a number one pick that was considered baby Kobe Bryant that has somehow not maximized his offensive talent. He's shown a lot of brightness.
He's gotten better every year statistically, but it still hasn't showcased.
Where he's not reached his max potential. Mm-hmm. It's almost like look at somebody like Jeff Green, 5th pick in the draft. We've seen him have good years, but nobody will say that he reached his maximal potential. It just didn't happen. So we could say like Russell Westbrook reached his maximal potential.
Yeah.
And that's because he was with the same system that OKC team developed him from a rookie and let him grow into the star that he became.
Mm-hmm.
With Wiggins, I don't see that happening at all. Especially with Tom Thibodeau.
And I think in that team.
And even with Jimmy Butler, he didn't reach his offensive peak under Thibodeau. Mm-hmm. It was not until actually Thibodeau was removed from Chicago that Butler reached his potential under Fred Hoiberg offensively. Mm-hmm. So now he's back with Thibodeau. A lot of people feel like, oh, Thibodeau's developed him defensively. Not the offensive starter he became. So for me, that trade, and then Andrew Wiggins is considered Toronto's and Canada's finest basketball prospect. Mm-hmm. From the time he was 15, he was called Maple Jordan as an order to Toronto. Mm-hmm. So I think for the Raptors and Canada to bring back y'all prodigal son, this is like Stephon Marbury coming back to the Knicks.
Make him come on.
You bring him back, and this becomes the face of your franchise, mm-hmm. Andrew Wiggins. So that's the first move that I make. The second move I make is to get rid of Kyle Lowry. And there's nothing against Kyle Lowry. I would actually love to keep him as the point guard with Wiggins. The reason I'm doing it is Lowry's become brothers to DeRozan. They're like this. They're close. They're best friends. You see them work out together. Their kids always with each other. They're brothers. So if I trade DeRozan, I don't think Lowry will ever be the same person. I took away his best friend. He'll never play the same. I have to move him. So for him, the place that he always wanted to play is at his home. He's from Philadelphia. He's always wanted to play there. It's been his dream. He almost was signed by them, but then they signed J.J. Redick. There wasn't enough money. J.J. Redick will be a free agent, so Philadelphia has an enormous amount of money coming up this year. They need a point guard, a veteran point guard, to be along Ben Simmons and to be along Markelle Fultz. I think Lowry would be a perfect pickup for them. So I would trade now Lowry to Philadelphia for a 2018 first-round pick, which I believe is the 10th pick in the draft, and the 2019 second-round pick. So next year. Because I feel like Lowry is still one of the best point guards in the league. He deserves something back significantly if you won't give him up.
I think with his age might be a concern, though.
Correct. But the reason I say the first-round pick is because it's not a top 5 pick.
Yeah, okay.
It's a 10th pick in the draft, which to me is like a 10th pick in the draft is equivalent to what
they might just get one if that were to be a draft.
Fact. The reason I say it's a second-round pick is really something that people give away.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about, like, second-round picks well in the future. Like, who cares? So it's like you get 2 draft picks, you give up Lowry. It's really for that first-round pick. Cool. Right? And it can even be, like, say, a top 8 protected pick so that you feel comfortable about what they're giving up. Right? Next move I'll make, the last move, trade I'll make would be now, I would trade Serge Ibaka. Again, this has nothing to do with Serge Ibaka's talent. I love Serge Ibaka's talent. I think he'd actually be a good player with him. But he's getting $23 million a season for the next 3 years. If I'm going to reconstruct my team, that don't make no sense for us. Mm-hmm. So I would trade him to the Cleveland Cavaliers for Tristan Thompson. Now, the Cavaliers actually been trying to move on Tristan Thompson because Tristan Thompson really does a lot of the same things that Kevin Love does. Mm-hmm. He's a supreme rebounder. And Kevin Love is a supreme rebounder. They play the same position, power forward. So it's like they've been both kind of working against each other while they play with each other. So now my idea is because Valanciunas is a poor rebounder. And Tristan Thompson is also from Canada. He's one of the finer Toronto prospects. You bring him back home. You now bring Thompson back home to Canada. That's where you're from, baby. And you're a great rebounder to go upside Valanciunas, so I want to develop more. I feel like he's a 5th pick in the draft that has never been developed. You have DeRozan, you have Lowry, they're a perimeter team, but you have a young interior player that you've never developed.
I think with that trade, if they were to do something like that, that's where you probably get that draft pick.
No.
I think you get that.
The reason I say you can't, because Tristan Thompson is probably better than Serge Ibaka.
I think that second draft pick, I think you probably could get it for that.
I don't think we should get it. You probably could, but I think it would be a straight up because I think Tristan gets $20 million a year, Ibaka gets $23 million. I think it would be a straight up trade.
Okay, yeah.
And I think for Cleveland,
For
this is
money-wise.
exactly what they need. They need a rim protector. And they've been looking wide and far for it. Ibaka is one of the best rim protectors.
His name is Ibaka.
Ibaka. You know what I'm saying? So I think for those 3 trades will help everybody involved in Toronto. Now let's get into the draft. So that 10th pick that I would get from Philadelphia, I would either draft 3 point guards. So it's either who's available at that 10th pick. So the first guy, if he's available, I'm snatching him up. Trae Young. I think Trae Young would be a perfect player to go alongside Andrew Wiggins, OG Anunoby, Tristan Thompson, and Valanciunas as this young team that we're putting together with Jerry Stackhouse. But if we don't get Trae Young because he goes a little bit earlier, maybe Cleveland wants him, maybe like a little team earlier wants him, Memphis maybe. He's a bright kid. I'm going Colin Sexton. If I can get my hands on him, I'm definitely jumping at that. Again, another player that can go top 8, I might not get him at 10. Third is for sure who I can get at 10, and I know I'll get this player. Shai Alexander Gregorius. I can't particularly say the name right yet. Out of Kentucky, 6'6", 7'1" wingspan point guard. This kid has the Rondo Drew Holiday in him. He's not the most offensive studded kid, but he'll be a very good player. I think he'll be a good match also. So I got those 3 players. Then, to kill, absolutely murder the offseason, in free agency, I would go after no other, Avery Bradley. That would be my main guy to go after in offseason is Avery Bradley.
Why is that?
Glad you asked. I'm building this around defense. All right? Wiggins is not a good defensive player. Wiggins plays 2 guard. The person that backs up my 2 guard, I want to be an elite defensive player. Avery Bradley. That's why Avery Bradley becomes a choice. And then my golden free agent pickup would be this whole Canada move again. Corey Joseph. From Canada, played for the Raptors a little bit, was part of their last real playoff run. Would love to come back. Would be a great backup point guard in that whole mode. I would also try to get my hands on him in free agency if I could. And that would be me playing GM for the Toronto Raptors this year, 2018 offseason.
That's interesting pickup.
You have any questions for my GM-ness?
Not really. Well, it's a little like I think you're moving a lot of familiar players to try and then to call it not a reconstruction. I think it really is.
Yeah,
it's a rebuild if you are because it's a whole pretty much set of new class of players.
it is.
So
New coach,
I think
new players.
I would probably say either you keep a DeRozan and Ibaka or Ibaka and a Lowry. But I see what you're saying with the whole.
Got blow it up.
But at the end of the day, no, I mean the whole family thing with Lowry and DeRozan. But I think you have to keep at least one of those players. I think DeRozan being the younger, I think 27 years old, you could still get a good run with him.
I think you can. I just feel like he's just not good enough.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's what it comes down to. It's like it's the idea of like what Phil Jackson was saying with Carmelo Anthony. It's not that I don't think Carmelo's a great player. But I don't think Carmelo at this stage can be our best player if we want to win games.
That's true.
And that's where I look at DeRozan. It's like if DeRozan's our best player, we're not a championship team. If DeRozan's my 3rd best player, we're probably a championship contender. And I look at the Golden State Warriors the same way. If Klay Thompson is their best player, they're not a championship team. But the fact that Klay Thompson is their 3rd best player, they're hard to beat.
Yeah. So that's
like DeRozan to me is Klay Thompson level.
Yeah, he could essentially. But the reason I say like I just think like a person like at least one of those players has to stay in order for either Lowry, Ibaka, or that's the only thing I would have. The only question like why do you feel that getting rid of all 3?
Oh, honestly, I would feel like the reason I call it reconstruction is because I don't think fans that just seen their team win 59 games want to hear rebuild.
Okay.
Like I don't think you can ever pitch that to an owner. You know what I'm saying? You just can't do it. Like because your team has way too much talent for you to go from 59 wins to like 20 wins. It just shouldn't happen. Even if I trade off all 5 starters, the bench alone should at least make the team competitive. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like that's how good the team has to be if they won 59 games.
And then the next thing only question I would ask is, when do you see this team winning with those trades?
Excellent. I'm glad. That's a great question. So if we was to do that, let's say I bring in all these players, I think year one there would be a 7th or 6th seed under Jerry Stackhouse. The next year we will push and now be champions again. So it's like, all right, I have the first year. The idea is just to let Andrew Wiggins become James Harden. Almost like with Houston. That first year where he finally gets his own, this is your team, do your thing. Learn how you're going to score 30 a game. But then year two now, James Harden and Houston is now, the league knows that they're a team that's going to be in the playoffs. But that first year is like, wow, they made the playoffs. Oh, wow. Almost like with Isaiah Thomas and Brad Stevens. The first year they make the playoffs, it's like, oh, that's nice. The next year, they're the number one seed. And Isaiah is scary now. I'm an MVP caliber player. Because now everything is here now. We've developed this over 2 years. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So for me, it's like once Andrew Wiggins and who's the other players we have in this team? OG Anunoby, Tristan Thompson, Valanciunas, and
rookie draft pick.
And the point guard, once they get a second year, and then even DeLon Wright, that first year could be a starter. He's a good enough. This is a potential lottery pick point guard.
And then the other thing I would say was, do you pick up Van Fleet?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll keep him for sure. And the reason I like Van Fleet because Jerry Stackhouse is actually who developed in the G League. And that's how. Okay. So it's like that's the connection there.
Okay.
So it's like for me, yeah. I think definitely year two they definitely year three they're a championship contender, like against any team in the East.
Okay. It is easy in the East.
I would say it's easy just as much like the teams in 3 years will be now Milwaukee, New York, Philadelphia, Boston. Those 4 teams will be in 3 years with Embiid, Simmons, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Porzingis, Ntilikina. These when they grow up, Parker and Giannis. As these teams grow up, these are the teams. So
they got to show up.
In the East, I'm looking like I got Wiggins, I got Tristan Thompson, I got say, Valanciunas. I'm confident with Jerry Stackhouse and probably him having the best defense in the G League for 2 straight years. He can bring that to them. If you have a good defense, like Portland had the third-rated defense, that's why they were third in the West. They had the third-rated defense and number one for some time during the year, all year. And then you have 2 of the best scoring backcourt in the league. You're going to win games that way. So now if I got Wiggins scoring Kobe Bryant-like numbers every game, and I have Tristan Thompson almost leading the league in rebounds every year, and we're a top 3 defense, of course they're going to be the 4th, 5th seed in the East. Off of those things alone. They might not be a championship team, as we don't think Portland's a championship team, but they're going to be 3, 4, 5 in the West every year just off of that formula. Offense through Lillard and McCullough, top 5 defense.
That's another team that might have a change in culture in the next 2 years.
I think they're 1 star away. To me, the player they need is like a Boogie Cousins, Joel Embiid.
It's something like that.
You need a center that can match your backcourt.
Because it doesn't make sense.
I
the fact that they got swept out of here.
Well, I just thought that was a horrible matchup.
That was just a bad.
Horrible. And then I think
because nobody can stop Davis.
It's not even that nobody can stop Davis. Davis wasn't the problem. The problem was like their star Lillard got locked up by 2 guards that basically wanted him. So like they were basically switching off and eating Lillard. McCullough was struggling too because like you have 2 of the best perimeter defenders in the league that just want you 7 games and they're bigger than you. Like Rondo and Holiday is bigger than both Lillard and McCullough. Like
it was just bad for them.
Horrible matchup.
And that's what I mean is what makes it worse is because they had then you're getting guarded up. Davis. So there's like, I bet let's pass it to somebody else. Yeah. Davis is over there.
They still had Anthony Davis. Like that's that was a horrible match. Like the worst matchup you could get. Almost like with Toronto drawing LeBron. Yeah. It's like, damn. God damn.
Indiana, you couldn't do me a favor?
Yeah, God damn. Shout out to Indiana.
But yeah, that was good GM. Good GM talk, man.
Appreciate that. Let's move on with the rest of these coaches then.